So good afternoon, everyone. My name's Anna Myers. I'm a research assistant and part-time PhD student from the University of Leeds. My background is in exercise science, so I studied physical activity, health and exercise science as an undergraduate, and then went on to study physical activity health at Masters. So the title of my PhD is The Effects of Physical Activity and Sedentary Behaviour on Appetite Control Within an Energy Balance Framework. So there are three main empirical studies which will feature in my thesis. So the first is a cross-sectional study looking at the associations amongst sedentary and active behaviours, body composition and appetite dysregulation. And then the second two studies are medium-term intervention studies. One is an exercise intervention and the other is a diet intervention. And I'm looking at the effects of those interventions on free living physical activity, appetite control and body composition. So just a very brief background on my topic. So researchers have been interested in the association, the relationship between energy intake and energy expenditure for over 50 years. And there was a landmark study back in the 1950s by Gene Mayer, where he classified jute mill workers based on the physical demand of their jobs. So we can see that along the x-axis, we've got the workers categorised based on their jobs. So we've got from sedentary over here right up to very heavy work on the right-hand side. And as you can see that as the physical demand of the job increases, so too does energy intake. And we also know, so more recent research has added to the theory, so we know that being more active improves body composition and satiety signalling. But then below a certain level of physical activity, we can see that energy intake no longer matches energy expenditure, and energy intake actually exceeds and increases their requirements. So we also know that being less active favours increased body fat, and becoming less active doesn't downregulate energy intake. So it looks like there's something's going off below a certain level of activity, and appetite regulation seems to be lost. So I'm particularly interested in free living physical activity. So most of the studies in the area have looked at what happens when people go from an inactive to an active state through structured exercise, and I'm interested in free living physical activity and how that relates to body composition and appetite regulation. So research at Leeds has been in the area of appetite control has been ongoing for the last 25 years, and it's resulted in this multi-level platform where we look at a number of different areas that are involved in appetite control. And I won't go into these in detail. My colleague Christine, the first presenter yesterday, gave an overview of all the measures involved here. So I'm going to focus on the activity monitors. So this enables us to see what people are doing away from the lab in their day-to-day lives. So we use the armband, the SenseWear, which is really good for measuring or estimating energy expenditure. And based on that, you can also classify intensity of activity. And then we also use the ActivePal, and this gives an idea of posture. So with sedentary behaviour, it's particularly difficult to measure as there's two elements. So there's the low energy expenditure element and also the posture element. So one of the things I've developed is a method to integrate information from both activity monitors so we can get a true measure of sedentary behaviour, both energy expenditure and posture. So we get people to wear these for 7 days, including at least one weekend day. And for the data to be valid, they have to wear the armband for 22 hours for at least 5 days. And we know that they're complying with this because the armband only records when it's on the body. And then from this, we get a good picture of the activity that they're doing away from the lab and in their daily lives. And we can look at how this relates to things like appetite control and body composition. So finally, why I wanted to attend the summer school was just to, same as everybody else really, just to broaden my knowledge on obesity and related health complications. and meet people in a similar stage in their career and with similar interests. So thank you.